Y'all, this is your girl Sonja, and welcome back to She Say Sports. As you know, this month marks my 1 year anniversary as the host for She Say Sports podcast. I'm excited and thankful that I have 1 year under my belt and looking forward to many more years to come. This month, I will be talking with women who are at the top of their game in their respective fields. Today, I have with me celebrity chef Kimberly Gordon, a.k.a. Chef K, private chef to the stars. Hey, Chef K, how are you today?
Good, Sonja. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. So tell the listeners a little bit about yourself.
Well, like you said, I am a private chef. Originally born in Alabama, but raised in Florida, specifically Orlando. So right now I cater to specifically mostly the Florida and Georgia area, but I will travel wherever and have traveled, across the country. I have one son. He's 10 years old. His name is Dylan. And I'm so excited to tell you more.
Okay, awesome. All right. So, Chef K, come from a family of Southern and Creole cooks. Did you grow up cooking in the kitchen with your mom and your grandmother?
I did. My grandmother, both my parents were from Mississippi, and, my grandmother was very, she wanted all of us to get in the kitchen and learn, and it continued, going into my parents, and even, when I say Creole, I have a lot of family in Louisiana as well, so I learned a lot of great recipes from them as well, gumbo and etouffee and all those good things. So that was the foundation of how I got started cooking.
Awesome. So when did you know you had the gift of cooking? And before you answer that, the reason why I say that, because even though people are cooking in the kitchen, they don't have the gift. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
There is a difference. So when did you know you had the gift of cooking?
Well, it's actually funny because it was actually very late. I really didn't enjoy cooking until I actually graduated from college, and I started working my corporate America job, and I started cooking for family and friends, and I actually did a dinner for my father's birthday, and I was basically trying to show my family all the things I've been learning, and my dad was like, wow, he was like, you're actually really good at this. And just a little bit of background, not to be too long, but my father was a police officer in Orlando. And that birthday that I cooked for him, he kind of lit the spark, unfortunately. He was killed in the line of duty 2 days later.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was like one of the last things I got to do for him, and he kind of lit that spark. And, so that's kind of where it really started. And then it wasn't until I had my son, years later, that kind of reignited that spark, because I wanted to do some things for him that I didn't never had, like homemade baby food. And then I started again cooking for friends. And they were like, no, you really are good at this. Like, you should really do this. So that's pretty much how that ignited back again.
Wow. And, I'm so sorry for your loss. I mean, that's devastating. However, at the same time, you say
it's inspiring.
Something on the inside of you.
Right.
And something about when you're parents, they're like, you are really good at this. And that's giving you the okay. Go for it. You know what I mean? That's really touching. Wow. So you truly have the gift because you left your corporate job to pursue your passion, becoming a chef. Now, tell me the difference between a cook and a chef.
Well, a cook can cook, but a chef knows why. Like, there is chemistry to cooking. There are temperatures. Mm-hmm. There are things that you need to know that really differentiates between a cook and a chef. So, a lot of people can cook, but, let's say, vegan, or to know, what temperature a steak should be if somebody says medium rare or medium. Those are things that you have to know chemistry-wise, or how to mix ingredients. So, the chef part is more scientific. It's more alchemy to it than just knowing how to cook.
Right. I get that, because, see, I'm a cook. I'm a cook. I'm not a chef. Now, I can cook, but I'm not a chef. My brother is a chef, and what you just said, he can do that. A lot of stuff, like certain seasonings he'll use, and changing the temperature when needed. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Okay.
Right.
And does graduating from culinary school automatically make you a chef, or does it require more training?
Oh, no. I mean, there are plenty of people that have graduated from culinary school that are still not great cooks.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's what you said, like, it has to be a passion. Like, there has to be something innate within you, because there are a lot of people that go to college for something that they never even use, so.
Okay. Yes.
So, yeah, so, I mean, just because you think, okay, I'm kind of interested, like, first of all, a hobby doesn't make a passion. Yeah, so there's a lot more that goes into it than that.
So in 2013, you started your catering business, Good Enough to Eat Catering. And after 7 years of catering, you have now been deemed as a celebrity chef. How did you start cooking for celebrities?
Well, first, let me say, I really don't like the title celebrity chef, but I am a chef who has cooked for multiple celebrities.
Okay.
For me, like, I don't like that title just because I like to remain humble, and I never want to feel like, the normal person can't afford me or can't reach me.
Right.
But, it's always, for me, it was my first celebrity client was an Orlando native, and we had mutual friends, and I got recommended to her. She was one of the basketball wives, and that was my first. And actually, I was in culinary school when I started cooking for her. So it was kind of like my business started while I was in culinary school, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, so, and it's funny because even in culinary school, like, I had chef instructors asking me questions or telling me to go teach other people how to do things. So that was quite interesting. But from there, to be honest, I went out there and got it. For me, finding celebrity clients was not hard because I didn't mind doing the work, finding out, who their agents were or who I needed to contact or reaching out. However, I was my own marketing person as well. Mm-hmm. And, even if it was, let me do a tasting for you so you can see or taste, and that's pretty much how it started.
Wow. So you you found their agents. I mean, they're not, of course, yellow pages. So how did you go about doing that? I mean, I'm just curious.
Got to do your work.
Was it somebody you knew?
No, it was not anybody I knew or anything like that. I did my work like the World Wide Web. Like, if you put in the time and the work, it's amazing what you'll find.
You're right. Now that's good. That's a good preaching word right there. Absolutely, you got to put in the work.
Yes.
So, through my research, I read that you became part of hashtag Team Chef RLI, working with world-renowned Chef Richard Ingram, who is Dwayne Wade's private chef.
Yes.
How did this opportunity come about, and how did it benefit your brand in your catering business?
Chef Ingram has been an amazing mentor. He has opened up the doors for many chefs, especially us black chefs and black female chefs, because he's been cooking for Dwayne Wade for over 15 years, and he expanded his brand by opening up his doors to allow chefs to, come work under him and be mentored by him. Mm-hmm. And so we did a tasting while I was in Atlanta, and he said, "I see something in you." He said, "It's there." And ever since then, it's been like the best experience. So he helped catapult my business because he's been that soundboard for me to say, if I say, what do you think about this deal? Or, should I do it? He's always been that person to say, well, this is what you need to do. This is how you need to negotiate. Don't undervalue yourself, and teaching me about nutrition more and more. So he's been that person that has kind of fed into me and built me up to another level.
Awesome. And, that's good to have somebody in your corner like that, especially on that level, because they don't necessarily have to help you. So that's good that he gives back. Speaking of nutrition, I read you were awarded #1 nutritional counselor in Orlando for 2015 through 2019 by Thumbtack. That's awesome. So can you, what did you, explain that to me? How did you get chosen for that?
Well, I started my meal prep lane around that time, and, you know, there are a lot of people that have dietary restrictions and looking to get meals prepared either for family members or for themselves or, you know, of course, going into the new year, new me, trying to lose weight. Right. And so based on reviews and based on votes, I got voted the best nutritional specialist in Orlando, because those are things that, of course, especially if you're cooking for professional athletes, that teaches you so much about, you know, calorie restrictions, dietary restrictions, and it makes you more aware because food is also about nutrition, not always just what you love to eat. Right. Or a celebration.
So you have cooked for comedians, reality stars, athletes from the NBA, NFL, and the PGA. Who did you have most fun cooking for?
Ooh.
and I see you have, is it okay if I name some of the clients that you have?
Sure. Yes.
K. Michelle, Migos, 21 Savage, Jay Mayo, Tony Gaston, Mel Jackson, oh, I like him, Ryan Jensen, Terrence Ross, Grant and Tamia Hill, and the list goes on and on. Now, Migos, how was that?
Oh, my gosh, they were so sweet. They were so sweet.
I can see that. I can see them being really sweet guys.
They were actually visiting a club that I was the head chef for in Tampa, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And they asked me what I was cooking that night. And I think that night it was like a fish fry or something. And they were like, well, let's try it and see, you know. So I made them, you know, a plate. And they tried it, and they were like, we'll buy the kitchen. We want everything. They were like, thank you so much, Miss Kim. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Oh, wow.
Like, they were so sweet. They were like, you want to get pictures? Like, we need to have you back. It was such a good experience. I mean, to be honest, I would say 99% of my clients have been a great experience. Like, it's very rare that I've had, like, a bad experience with the client.
And that's good. That's good. What are some of the craziest requests you have received for you to prepare?
Craziest? For me, the food isn't crazy. It's the timing. Like when you have clients that say, can you be here in an hour?
Okay.
That's crazy. It's like, okay, wait a minute. So for me, that's the crazy part, like when it's like, I need you right now. I mean, I don't think I've ever been thrown any crazy ingredients because I cook everything, like from octopus to sawshell crab to sushi. Like there's not really anything I can't cook, but it's like, okay, you need me right this second. Okay.
Gotcha. Yeah, that will, especially with living in Florida, Orlando area, Tampa area, you know, the traffic. Mm-hmm. You know, or you could have been doing something, you got to drop everything. So, yeah, that can be crazy. I can understand that. How different were the meals for the NBA, the NFL, and the PGA athletes? You know, because they all, you know, especially with the NFL, you're dealing with linebackers or, you know, depending on what you're, you know, dealing with. How was it crazy? Not crazy, but how was it preparing their foods? Did they have special requests or?
I would say for the NBA, they have more restrictions. I would say restrictions per se because they're leaner and, you know, they're running up and down the court, back and forth. You know, you have to think about what gives them gas, what's going to give them more fuel. Football, like the NFL players, they're more open because you know, get a break, you know, offense versus defense. Usually they have more intake, more calorie intake. Mm-hmm. So they usually have bigger meals than the NBA players. And they're pretty much more, this is what I like, this is what I don't like. And it's not really, oh, I'm on keto, oh, I'm vegan. You know, there's not that many of those on that aspect in the NBA. But either way, it's fun for me.
Right. I bet you it is. Speaking of the NBA, you were honored to be selected as one of the premier chefs to cook in the NBA bubble. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How were you chosen to be one of the premier chefs?
I was actually recommended by another chef that was cooking for another athlete, and I did a tasting, and then they loved the food, and they took care of me for 2.5 months, and it was 7 days a week, every day, no days off. Yes.
Wow.
And, of course, we had to pretty much, like, self-quarantine as well. Couldn't be around large crowds or anything like that. Basically just necessity-only outings. And, going into the bubbles, a lot of security, a lot of, making sure that the players stay safe. So we didn't really deal with them directly, but we were there cooking for them every day.
How many chefs were there, and did you all have specific menus you had to prepare for each team or player?
Every player had their own, likes, dislikes. So we cooked snacks, lunch, and dinner every day. And how many players had the option to have a chef? They didn't have to, but there were many players who weren't happy with the food that was provided. So many of them had or opted out to have their own chef. And so, we have to sign contracts with the NBA as well to provide, disclosure and things like that. So it was really up to the players if they wanted to have a chef.
Okay. And, you mentioned this earlier. Of course, everyone there eats differently. You mentioned, some are vegan, vegetarian, pescatarian, and full meat eaters. Mm-hmm. How was it having to prepare different meals for so many people? Did you have to do it in bulk at certain places, certain times, or?
Well, I was lucky enough to have quite a few that weren't really picky eaters, and they were kind of on the same wavelength. Mm-hmm. So our menus kind of worked for multiple players. So it was like if I did one, they were kind of like, oh, that sounds good. So I had a very great experience because I didn't have a lot of people that were really different.
Real picky, yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
That's awesome. So you mentioned earlier that, you guys had to, of course, stay safe because of the NBA bubble. That was the whole purpose of the bubble. However, how often were you able to go home? Were you able to go home, or?
No, I didn't go home. We were provided a place, a couple miles from the bubble. So, we didn't leave there until our contract was up.
Awesome. Okay. Would you consider doing it again if the NBA has to go back in a bubble?
Oh, of course.
That's awesome. Okay. And for those of us who are not celebrities and just want to try your food, do you have online services where we can enjoy your cuisine by ordering it online?
No, I don't have an online setup right now, but anyone can message me or reach me through my website or through my Instagram. And again, I cook for everybody. I'm not just for celebrities or, I've never built myself up to be that way. So, a lot of people say, oh, I can't afford you. I'm like, no, that's not true. Like, you don't know that.
Right. True. And I get what you're saying. I appreciate you for not, you didn't call yourself a celebrity chef, but that's what you are. So I'm sorry.
I appreciate that.
That's what you are, and it's okay. And it's not that you're better than anybody else, but that's just the title. And, your heart, you just love to cook. So it just happened that way. So I get what you're saying, though. I really do.
Right.
So advice would you give anyone wanting to start their own catering business and or cook exclusively for celebrities?
Well, I would tell them the goal shouldn't be to cook for celebrities. Like, if it's your love and your passion, you should do it whether you get to that point or not. If you get there, that's great. If you don't, you can still have a very lucrative business and not cook for celebrities. So I would tell them, but you have to put in the work. Like, you can't just go from 0 to 100. You have to start, yes, I started out cooking for a celebrity, but there was a long process between then and now. Mm-hmm. And it's not always been glamorous or cooking for the celebrity. It's been a tough road. And when you're building a business, you have to go through those ups and downs in that trial. Like, you can't skip the valleys just to hit the mountains.
Right. That's good advice. Good to know, because everybody only sees the shine.
Right.
They don't see what you went through before that. And, therefore, especially this society is such a gratification type of society now. And they want everything to, she did it, yeah, but she put the work in, and you
don't know what it took to get there.
Exactly. It's not always glamorous.
Right.
So, but it is a blessing that you're able to do something that you love to do, and was bold enough, to leave corporate America, because a lot of people won't do that.
Especially with a baby.
Yeah.
With a baby.
That's a lot of faith. And, and you walk in faith without action is dead, and you had action. So I'm proud of you. I really am.
Thank you.
Your story is, especially after, what you told me about your father, it says a lot. So kudos to you, young lady. Kudos to you.
I appreciate it.
Chef K, it has been a pleasure. I was sure looking forward to those crab cakes in Orlando. So you owe me now.
I owe you.
You may have to send me some here, because my mouth was watering. I was so excited. So
I might just have to bring you some after this pandemic is up.
Okay, I'm gonna keep you to your word. So please tell the listeners how they can follow you on social media.
My Instagram is Chef K, just K, Danielle. Similar to K Michelle, and she actually gave me my name. So
really?
K Danielle. She did, yes. When I cooked for her, she asked me to stay, and while she was getting ready, and when we talked about our names were the same, she was like, "What's your middle name?" I said, Danielle. And she was like, "Well, you could be K Danielle, like I'm K Michelle." And I was like, that has a nice little ring to it.
That is so cool. So that's how you got your name.
Yeah.
Okay, Danielle. Okay.
Right.
That's your Instagram. And you mentioned something earlier. I think your email, or they can reach out to you to
my website is actually on my Instagram as well. So you have access to my website, my email, and my phone number through my Instagram.
Okay. Awesome. And guys, you can follow me at She Say Sports on Facebook. She Say Sports 23. And that's my show for today. Until next time. You're welcome. Until next time, this is Sonja with She Say Sports, and I'll see you on the radio.